Hi, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, where you can take some time to consider the benefits of understanding body language and nonverbal communication, the signs you are giving out, and how to effectively read the minds of others through the signals they give out unconsciously. Today's lesson is going to be about body blocking, what it means, how to identify it, and how to communicate around it. If you enjoy what you listen to, please click the subscribe button. Getting on, thank you. Body blocking is when somebody feels disengaged, uncomfortable, or anxious, or maybe a mix of all. Body blocking behaviours can come through in varying different manners and situations. Perhaps you're speaking to your boss for a raise. Perhaps you're dating someone new. Perhaps you're trying to negotiate a deal with a business person. What I'm going to talk about is how to identify it, what it means, and a few different concepts behind the behaviour. So body blocking is when we cover, block, or obstruct a part of our body. What I'm going to talk about in this video, and what is often the case, is we block the stomach and the chest with a barrier of sorts, okay? Now this is a unconscious defense to potential threats, alright? It's a flight response as it takes you out of the situation, it removes you from what may be ahead of you, okay? Now that could be internally as well. You may be removing yourself from a particular thought, or the individual ahead of you may feel they need to cover up and defend themselves through what they perceive of you, okay? And as I said, it tends to primarily be a unconscious thing, so we don't decide to do it purposefully. It just tends to happen outside of our awareness, or at least for the majority of people who don't understand the information and the benefit of learning about nonverbal communications and the messages we express to the world. So, what we'll see most regular when it comes to body blocking is the crossing of the arms. It's a closed body language which shows defensiveness and distance. Okay, so when communicating with someone, if you do see this behaviour, what you really want to do is have them loosen their arms and eventually release them, exposing the torso and the chest. That will show you that they are more receptive to you and in a more positive, upbeat position, okay? Because currently with them arms crossed, as I referenced, they will feel disengaged, discomfort, and potentially anxious, alright? And one thing when it comes to body language is that the mind and the body is so connected that it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy that if the arms are closed and they are blocking you off, they'll feel blocked off from you and they'll feel that it's right to do so. Okay, so if you can find the means of loosening them up and having them arms relaxed, then it's a win for both parties, as they will feel a lot more comfortable around you, and you won't have to get through that added defensiveness that they're throwing your way, alright? So the crossing of the arms, now there's so much to take into consideration. I will do a video showcasing all of the different variants of the crossing of the arms, because at the end of the arms are the hands, and that complicates things a whole lot further, alright? We're looking at the isolation of the blocking of the chest, if not also the stomach. We'd be delving into the world of clusters and paying attention to a whole larger picture if we had a look at the hands as well, what they're doing, alright? So basically, you want to uncover that chest and that stomach if you want to have a positive, comfortable conversation, and that goes with you as well, okay? You don't want to have your arms crossed, showing some sort of defensive, bordering on offensive due to the elbows being out position and behaviour, alright? So if you're going to learn one thing from this video, it's to never cross your arms and to always undo them when you feel that you're doing them unconsciously. It will feel comfortable at times because it aligns with your state of thought, but if you only want to continue provoking that uncomfortable state of thought, it's in your best interest to keep them arms by your side or keep them busy somehow without obstructing the communication and the route to you. Alright, you don't want to do that. Now, what's seen in dating? Obviously, it's seen in other forms of communication, such as at a business table if you are negotiating a deal or if you're having food with someone. But let's say you're dating an individual, okay, and they bring the salt and pepper central, obstructing you. That's a form of body blocking, okay? So you can use objects as well. So your date has moved their drink into the middle of the table in between you both. You need to pay attention to that, alright? And same with yourself, you need to ensure that you don't obstruct yourself or them. You want to communicate direct. If you want to communicate efficiently, you don't want to have to ear around any sort of blockages. It might not seem like a lot, but psychologically speaking, it explains a lot. Alright? Now, this might already be a thing. You might now sit down at a table with a natural obstruction. Maybe there's a plant in the middle of the table. Now, if you're dating someone, you want to get rid of that plant. Move that plant to the side so you can look the individual in the eye, be open, be receptive. Hopefully there's no arm crossing. Alright, which drinks are pretty helpful to do. If somebody's using their hands to hold something or to fiddle with something, it relieves some of the blockage that may be potential in that circumstance. As you can see in the picture, the woman is holding her stomach. Now, I think in this picture in particular, the woman may be pregnant, but that only amplifies the potential threat and safety that she needs to acquire for her mind to be comfortable. So the body blocking is still in effect. It's still the same gesture, it's just to a higher degree, okay? Because there's more safety and security necessary for that individual. If you were to be at the table with your boss discussing a raise, you're not going to get a good idea through if they're blocking you off with their arms. So you need to butter them up and be friends and be open and be receptive, and you don't want to be providing that energy yourself, so you want to be open, okay? Not to a degree where you're all over the chair, sloppy and being rude, but you need to be open and use illustrative hand gestures, open palm gestures, okay? And due to the mirror neurons where we build rapport with people, especially after a moment's conversation, he might start to loosen up and join you in the dance and open his arms up, a bit more prone to giving you what you want because you're friends. Friends don't need to be defensive around each other or look at each other as potential threats. Now, we don't think this consciously. It's on an unconscious basis. It's a survival mechanism, so you need to pay attention. When communicating efficiently, ensure that there's no blocking of the body, alright? I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I hope you've learned something. If you do learn something, if this whole topic is quite new to you and you're only delving into non-verbal communication as of now and the information that surrounds it, what I'd recommend is stop covering your body, stop folding your arms, okay? You've been listening to Everyday Superpower. If you enjoy what I do, click subscribe. Goodbye.